the hope that I cling to. You mean more than this world to me. I wouldn't trade you for silver or gold. I wouldn't trade you for riches untold. You are my everything. You are the love of my life. You are the hope that I cling to. You mean more than this world to me. I wouldn't trade you for silver or gold. I wouldn't trade you for riches untold. You are my everything. I wouldn't take one step without you. I could never go on. I wouldn't live one day without you. I don't have the strength to make it on my own. You are the love of my life, Jesus. You are the hope that I cling to. You mean more than this world to me. I wouldn't trade you for silver or gold. I wouldn't trade you for riches untold. You are my everything. Until the world stops turning, until the stars fade from the sky, until the sun stops striving, I need you in my life, and here's a reason why. You are the love of my life. You are the hope that I cling to. You mean more than this world to me. I wouldn't trade you for silver or gold. I wouldn't trade you for riches untold. You are my everything. Jesus, you are my everything.
Welcome once again, my brothers and sisters, to another Living Hope Today study. I'm so thankful that you're here, and today we have made it all the way to 1 Kings chapter 4. We are now seeing Solomon be established as the king of all Israel, a united kingdom, and we're listening in on how God is prospering him. You know, we live in a culture where many people claim that the real reason God exists is to prosper us, to bless us. We need to name it and claim it. In fact, we're upset with God if he doesn't do everything we tell him to do. It's that kind of attitude. But that's not what brings God's prosperity to bear in our lives. In fact, I think Solomon is a great example of what God responds to. And, we don't know if he's going to bless our lives in similar ways. Just to know him is blessing enough. But I know that we can't demand his blessing. What does it take? What does it take? Well, let's look at Solomon today, because he's a great example of what it takes. When you get to let's go back. Let's go back to chapter 3. We were here yesterday. Remember this exchange? Solomon showed his love for the Lord. Okay, how did he do that? Well, he walked according to the statutes of his father David. So what do we know about Solomon? One thing he did, he obeyed, at least in the beginning. He obeyed God. He honored God by doing what God says, by simply bowing before him. All right, you move farther into chapter 3. What happens now? O Lord my God, you have made your servant king in place of my father David, but I am, look at this, I am only a little child, and I don't know how to carry out my duties. What is that? Well, that's humility. That's the recognition that I need help, and I need help from God. I don't need just advice. I need God's help. So what do we see here? We see obedience. We see humility, even meekness, to say, God, you need to exercise your power in my life. All right? These are the components that God says, look, that's all I want. Bow before me, humble yourself, deny yourself, take up your cross, follow me, obey me. That's it. I'm going to bless your life. Well, look what he does with Solomon. So God said to him, since you've asked for this, what is this about? Well, remember, God went to Solomon and said, what do you want? And Solomon says, I want the wisdom necessary to rule your people. Don't worry about conquering my enemies or giving me a lot of money. I'm only a child. I don't know what to do. Help me understand what you want me to do. Oh, wow. Let's watch how God responds to that. Since you have asked for this, and not for long life or wealth for yourself, nor have asked for the death of your enemies, but for discernment in administering justice, Lord, give me the power, the wisdom, the strength, the discernment to serve you. I will do what you have asked. Well, that's a blessing all by itself, but look at how 12 continues. I will give you a wise and discerning heart, so that there will never have been anyone like you, nor will there ever be. God bestows blessing on King Solomon because of King Solomon's obedience and his humility, and his asking not for personal gain, but for the furtherance of God's kingdom, that he might do what God has called him to do. What a good start. So we roll into chapter 4. And listen to how God blesses Solomon throughout this chapter. First, we're told about the organization. And unfortunately, I have to read all these names, so I'm going to go fast. If I mispronounce them, please forgive me. But King Solomon ruled over all Israel. First, a united kingdom. That's a great blessing. And these were his chief officials: Azariah, son of Zadok the priest, Elioreph and Ahijah, son of Shisha, secretaries, Jehoshaphat, son of Ahihud, recorder, Benaiah, son of Jehoiada, commander-in-chief, Zadok and Abiathar were priests. That's the second time Zadok's been mentioned, just note that. Azariah, son of Nathan, in charge of the district officers, Zabud, son of Nathan, a priest and a personal advisor to the king, Ahishar, in charge of the palace, Adoniram, son of Abda, in charge of forced labor. Solomon also had 12 district governors over all Israel who supplied provisions for the king and the royal household. Each one had to provide supplies for 1 month in the year. These are their names. So just back up a minute and just understand, God has supplied skillful people to accomplish the mission that he has for Solomon, and he's given Solomon the wisdom to place those skillful people in the right places. Now we're talking about 12 district governors. Okay, so there's great organization and structure. All right, these are their names: Ben-Hur in the hill country of Ephraim, Ben-Decker in Makaz, Sha'alibim, Beth Shemesh and Elon Bethhana, Beth Hesed and Arubath, Soko, and all the land of Hepher were his. Ben Abinadab in Naphath Dor, he was married to Taphath, daughter of Solomon. So a son-in-law, I guess, Baana, son of Alihud, and Ta'anak, and Megiddo, and in all of Bethshan, next to Zarathan, below Jezreel, from Bethshan to Abel Meholah, across to Jokmeam, Ben Geber in Ramoth Gilead, the settlements of Jair, son of Manasseh in Gilead, were his, as well as the district of Argob, were his, as well as the district of Argob in Bashan, and its 60 large walled cities with bronze gate and bars. Wow, I'm getting tired. But do you notice that Scripture is so intent on delivering history, real history? These are people that served in Solomon's court. They were his governors and his attendants, and it goes on to make sure we understand who was involved. Ahinadab, son of Edo, in Mahanaim. Ahimaaz in Naphtali, he had married Basemath, daughter of Solomon. Bahana, son of Hushai, in Asher and in Alath. Jehoshaphat, son of Paruah, in Issachar. Shimei, son of Elah, in Benjamin. Geber, son of Uri, in Gilead, the country of Sihon, king of the Amorites, and the king of Og, king of Bashan. He was the only governor over the district. Okay, so we've learned all these names, but here comes a summary that really sums it up. The people of Judah and Israel, that's the whole kingdom, they were as numerous as the sand on the seashore. So we got plenty of reproduction going on, people everywhere. How are they living? Well, they ate, they drank, and they were happy. Wow. We had peace from our enemies. We had provision from God. We had plenty to eat. We had plenty to drink. We were able to celebrate every day. This is the righteous rule of Solomon brought to him by God's prosperity. Why? Because he obeyed and he humbled himself before the Lord. And Solomon ruled over all the kingdoms from the river to the land of the Philistines as far as the border of Egypt. These countries brought tribute and were Solomon's subjects all his life. So instead of war, we see, you've heard that common expression today, from the river to the sea. Well, we see that Solomon's kingdom extended from the river to the sea. Assuming that means the Euphrates River. It's a huge kingdom. The countries brought tribute. They were Solomon's subjects. God has placed him in a place where he has wisdom, discernment, power, strength, and his rule is one that allows the people to eat and drink and be happy. Wow. Solomon's daily provisions. So this is what it takes to keep the kingdom going. They were 30 cores of fine flour and 60 cores of meal, 10 head of stall-fed cattle, 20 of pasture-fed cattle, and 100 sheep and goats, as well as deer, gazelles, roebucks, and choice fowl. What are we talking about here? Food, abundance, prosperity. Why is this happening? God has opened the door of blessing because that's his call. He wants to do this for Solomon. For he ruled over the kingdoms of the west, over all the kingdoms west of the river, from Tifsah to Gaza, and had peace on all sides. There's the line. During Solomon's lifetime, Judah and Israel, from Dan to Beersheba, that's from the north to the south, lived in safety, each man under his own vine and fig tree. God provided abundance and joy to go along with that abundance as his people obeyed him. Solomon had 4,000 stalls for chariot horses and 12,000 horses. The district officers, each in his month, supplied provisions for King Solomon and all who came to the king's table. They saw to it that nothing was lacking. They also brought to the proper place their quotas of barley and straw for the chariot horses and other horses. There it is, God gave Solomon wisdom and very great insight, and a breadth of understanding as measureless as the sand on the seashore. Solomon's brilliant, wise, discerning. Why? Because he went to the best colleges and came from the best pedigree? No. Because God decided to give it to him. And God decided to give it to him. Why? Because he committed his heart to obey God with all his heart, and he humbled himself before God. He confessed to God, I'm like a child. I don't know what to do. Give me discernment. You want to give me anything I want? I want discernment. Wow. Just notice. Now, it's not to say that if we bow before God, humble ourselves, if we commit our lives to obey him, that we're going to be king over a kingdom and have all these provisions. It's not to say that. God's obviously going to use our lives in the way he chooses. But nonetheless, notice why this is working. Not just what happened, but why. Because the heart is right. And the people are now being blessed through what God is doing in Solomon's life. Solomon's wisdom was greater than the wisdom of all the men of the East and greater than all the wisdom of Egypt. That's really saying something. I mean, these guys built the pyramids. They're no slouch when it comes to understanding the geometry and physics and all the things that it takes to build a pyramid. Well, nonetheless, Solomon was wiser than them. He was wiser than any other man, including Ethan the Ezrahite, wiser than Heman, Calcol, and Darda, the sons of Mahol. And his fame spread to all the surrounding nations. Something's going on over there in Israel. King Solomon is ruling. King Solomon can't make any kind of mistake, and he's just being blessed and blessed and blessed. Everything he touches goes well. He spoke 3,000 proverbs. Oh, yeah. Do you know that the book of Proverbs is largely written by Solomon? He spoke 3,000 proverbs, and his songs numbered 1,005. He described plant life, from the cedar of Lebanon to the hyssop that grows out of walls. He also taught about animals and birds and reptiles and fish. God's given him so much wisdom, he can teach about God's creation. Amazing. Men of all nations came to listen to Solomon's wisdom, sent by all the kings of the world who had heard of his wisdom. Let's go. Instead of trying to fight him and be his rival, let's go learn from him. This is the blessing of God. We close today here in Psalm 37. If the Lord delights in a man's ways, he makes his steps firm. Though he stumble, he will not fall, for the Lord upholds him with his hand. Just understand, as time passes, we're going to get to the place where Solomon makes some bad decisions. It doesn't sound like the wisest guy in the world. Well, we'll be watching that. But understand that the Lord delights in him here in 1 Kings 4. The Lord is blessing him. He's making his steps firm. And when he does stumble, the Lord will not let him fall. The Lord's going to uphold him. Same goes for us. The Lord is the same yesterday, today, and forever. We belong to him. What should we do? Well, let's commit ourselves to obeying everything he says in his word. Oh, yeah. And then let's humble ourselves and just tell God, look, I don't want to live my life in my own wisdom. I need your discernment. I need your direction. I want your provision. I yield to you. The Lord will respond. I know he will. He's done it for us. Praise God, church. I hope you serve him well today, and God bless you.
Who is it who for sinners shed his blood, and now for cleansing all can plunge beneath that flood? It's Jesus. But do you know who he is? He future, the past